Hello again, guys, and welcome to this edition of AI Governance Engineering with myself, Gavin. And if you're implementing ISO-42001, the AI management system standard, you know it's not just about writing policies. You need operational tools that actually help you manage AI governance day to day. And in this video, I'm walking you through 6 additional Excel documents that I've built for my own ISO-42001 toolkit. And these aren't just templates with empty boxes. They're integrated tools that map across multiple standards and give you real audit evidence. So what we'll cover today is one, a lifecycle stage control matrix, which maps controls to your AI system's entire lifecycle. A context analysis workbook, which is like a business strategy framework adapted for AI governance. We'll look at the RASCI matrix, so who owns what in your aims. A document tracker, manage your entire documentation set. A governance objectives register, so you can plan and measure your AI objectives, and a competency matrix, which shows what skills your team needs and who needs them. So first is probably the most comprehensive document in this toolkit, the lifecycle stage control matrix. And this is the tool that answers the question, which controls matter at which stage of your AI system's life. So what does this do? It integrates 3 ISO standards, 42001, and there's 38 Annex A controls, 27090, the AI cybersecurity standard with 10 specific AI threats, and then 23894 with 11 risk management objectives. And it maps all of these across 8 lifecycle stages based on 5338, the AI system lifecycle standard. So if we just have a look through some of the tabs you've got the lifecycle matrix here. So basically the 5338 reference, you've got inception, design and development, verification and validation, deployment, and so on and so forth. There's a legend there to help you out. Technical processes related to this particular section, and a description. So in the initial phase where business needs are analysed, stakeholders identified, and system requirements defined, determines whether to build an AI system or traditional system. And then if you look here at the right, if I just move this over a bit, but if you look here, you'll see all these PNSs, and this is all of the Annex A controls. Or if you hover over each specific control, you'll see a description of it there, just for additional support and clarity in case you get confused. So we've got the 42001 Annex A controls there, all listed out. Then we've got the 27090 AI threats, and you can change them accordingly to high, medium, and low risk. What else? And then finally 23894 risk objectives, and you've got primary or secondary. So it's secondary would be relevant but not a primary concern right now, and you can just change them until your heart's content or what is applicable to your specific system. So if you look here, retirement, section 6.417 of 5338, technical processes, disposal, end of life phase, including decommissioning AI system, archiving data. So 8.2.2 is AI policy. The organization shall document a policy for the development or use of AI systems. And here it's saying it's secondary in relation to this because we are essentially phasing the system out. 8.4.2, if we click that, resource documentation, the organisation shall identify and document relevant resources required for the activities at given AI system lifecycle stages and other AI-related activities relevant for the organisation. And this is listed as primary because like a system's on its way out, it doesn't mean we shouldn't document that at all. So again, hopefully you can just see that you've got the control there, and then you can decide whether it's a primary or secondary sort of concern for you. Again, the threats is more like risk, so it's based on high risk, medium risk, low risk, and then 23894 goes back to primary and secondary again. You've got a full control reference here that you can work through. You've got a threat reference for 27090 and a risk objectives for 23894. So document 2 is where I sort of took some inspiration from the PECB lead implementer course, and then also used some of my own business studies teaching awareness for things like SWOT, pest analysis, and a few others. So you're going to see that now in action. So we can start with a pest analysis, and obviously this is used for 42001 clause 4.1a, so where you're looking at the internal and external considerations for your business, and it's kind of pre-populated here with some considerations, but you can change them as you see fit. So for those that don't know, it's political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental. And you can write some analysis there. Is the impact high, medium, or low? What's the current trend? And then an aims implication. And then we can go to AI stakeholder mapping. And this is based on Mendelow's power and interest matrix for AI stakeholders. So it's basically just showing you that if the stakeholder is of high interest and high power, you need to manage them closely, engage actively, and these are the key decision makers. If they are high interest but low power, you just need to keep them informed, regular communication, address concerns. If they are high power, low interest, just meet their needs, regular updates, anticipate any concerns, and then low power, low interest, minimal effort, periodic review, and just watch for any changes. And then you've also got here the ISO-42001. So here you've got the stakeholder categories internal, and there's a whole list of them there: providers, producers, customers, etc., etc. And then you can just add any additional ones down there. Then we go to the AI value chain analysis, and this is basically Porter's value chain adapted for AI. So where does AI touch your primary activities, your support activities, and crucially, what governance requirements apply each touch point? And if we just scroll up, you can see here, so you've got inbound logistics as your primary activities, operations. You can add detail there. You can change the risk there, and the color should change. Governance controls required, and you've got a 42001 reference. Support activities, firm infrastructure, technology development, and the same sort of process applies there. And then finally, AI governance layer summary. Can change priorities 1, 2, 3, 4 for system inventory, data governance, and check it against the particular controls. Then we've got the Towers matrix, and this connects your SWOT analysis to ISO 42001 clause 6.1. So actions to address risks and opportunities. So essentially, it's not just listing strengths and weaknesses; it's generating strategic options and linking them to specific 42001 clauses. And yeah, this is good because most businesses you would assume are familiar with, or someone in the business is familiar with, a SWOT analysis. So this should breed some sort of comfort and familiarity. And you just input your strengths, your weaknesses, or consider them, opportunities and threats. And then it's like, well, based on these strengths, how can we use our strengths to capitalize on AI opportunities? And I might need to just reduce this down a bit because it's hiding away. And then there's just more. Oh, there we go. Can I zoom in on that? And that final column, I'll have to fix the formatting of this. So section 3, strategy prioritization. And based on the outcomes of your SWOT analysis, this is where you can then populate this part of the document. And then we've got, what else? The document history, which is where you can just keep your version control and all that sort of stuff. So next is the RASCI matrix, and it's this is your accountability framework related to 42001 clause 5.3, which requires you to assign responsibilities and authorities. Annex A, control 8.3.2 says roles and responsibilities for AI shall be defined. So this matrix can be your evidence. And for those that forget what it is, it stands for R, responsible, who does the work; A, accountable, who owns the outcome, which should only be one person per item; S, supportive, who helps you out; C, consulted, whose input do you need; I, informed, who needs to know. And the critical rule, as most of you will probably know, is only one person should be accountable, not two, else nobody is. So this is the Annex A RACI matrix, and it's covering all 38 Annex A controls. So these are your operational controls, like who owns each specific AI governance activity. And they're separate because different people often own the management system machinery versus the day-to-day controls. So your chief technical officer might be accountable for clause 6.1, having a risk assessment process. But your data engineer might be responsible for control A73, actually assessing data quality. And these are going to be useful when an auditor comes through, because they're likely to ask who's accountable for this. And this matrix gives you the instant answer, documented and approved. The other tab in this is the aims RACI, and this covers the main sort of management system clauses 4 through to 10. And this is like your context, your leadership, your planning, support, operation, performance. And these are your shall requirements, sort of the machinery that makes your aims function. And again, just simply insert name, you've got your evidence documented. So next up is the aims document tracker. And this is like your control tower for the entire toolkit. So when you're managing 100 plus documents across an aims implementation, you're going to need a system. So each document has a unique ID following the aims naming convention. It has a document title and version, owner and review. And the differentiator with this is that each document maps to ISO-42001 Annex A controls. So which of the 38 controls does this document support? ISO-23894 objectives, which risk management objectives, A2 through to A12, and EU AA Act articles, so which deployer obligations. So this cross-referencing is obviously going to be incredibly valuable during audits. So like when an auditor asks about a specific control, you can filter the tracker and instantly see every document that supports it. So if we just have a look through here, a quick scan, just super detailed all the way down, covering all sorts of things. If you've just got data governance, where's the location of the file, that owner review, the primary ISO clause 7 and Annex A control 7.2, 7.3, ISO risk management objectives, EU Act Article 10 conversion status. You can change this to complete if it's done. What phase are you at? And source document, review notes. And then we've got multi-standard mapping here, where again you can just scroll down and look at things like, let's have a look, AI system retirement policy, ISO clause 8, 42001 Annex A 625, no risk management objectives there at the moment, no 5338 processes, no 5259 requirements, and in this example, no EU Act or GDPR, but you can see others do. AI system impact assessment, ISO clause 6, Annex A, there's all the controls, risk management controls, EU Act articles. If we go down now, you can see training data management procedure, 42001 clause 7, there's the annex, risk management, and then you've got ISO 5259 kicks in, number 3 for management, and then the EU Act article. And then you get a dashboard at the end, conversion status summary, so how many things are complete, in progress, etc., and a completion percentage of 7.3%. Next is AI governance objectives. And this is directly aligned with ISO 42001 clause 6.2. So 6.2 tells you exactly what to document when planning objectives. It's remarkably specific, and the organisation should determine what will be done, what resources will be used, who will be responsible, when will it be completed, and how results will be evaluated. And this register has those exact columns, so it's like a direct implementation of the standards requirements. Very simple, but I've added some more value beyond the basics. So you've got this measurable, this measurable criteria column, as clause 6.2b says, objectives should be measurable if practicable. And this column kind of forces you to define success metrics up front. And then you've got the Annex C objective alignment, 42001 Annex C lists 11 recommended AI objectives, accountability, AI expertise, so on and so forth. So this becomes like a living document that drives your management reviews. So are we meeting our AI governance objectives? What's on track? What's behind? And it's like accountability made visible. So the final document is the Competency Matrix, arguably the most directly impactful for your people. 42001 clause 7.2 requires competence EU AI Act Article 4 mandates AI literacy, or it did, for anyone deploying AI systems. So this matrix answers who needs to know what. So we've defined around 26 AI-specific competencies organized into 5 categories. So we've got AI management system, and you can see all the ISO standards there for 2001 with the specific controls in place. We've got the AI risk impact. We've got technical AI. We've got trustworthiness, and you can see there's a few different ISO standards it refers to: 625424027, 23894, 27090. It's got a risk sort of score there. Change that as you see fit. And then you've got all this TXPG. We'll get to that in a minute. We've got regulatory, and then life cycle and operations. We've got role requirements here. So again, the TX and stuff stands for trained or experienced. And this is kind of generic, but I say it's generic, it's not generic, but it shows you, like, for example, human oversight personnel, what's the priority, critical, the required competencies, the legal basis for this, and then sort of a random training hours required. Change that as you see fit. Priority legend, critical, high, medium, best practice recommended, strong recommendation for audit focus, and legal requirement, non-negotiable. And you can use these column letters when tracking competencies in the competency matrix sheet. We have a dashboard. So once you've finished, let's have a look. Once you've finished completing this, adding the employee's name, there's a list here of what they do. So we could have, risk manager, auditor. I'm not sure what's happened there. I'll have to check that. And then you'd obviously have all of these just different depending on your business or your sort of competency level. And then this should start showing up in the dashboard. You've got instructions on how to use it. And what else? Have I covered everything else with that? Yeah, I think that's all. So there you have it, guys. 6 documents that form part of the operational backbone of an ISO 42001 implementation. We looked at lifecycle stage control matrix, context analysis workbook, RASCI matrix, document tracker, governance objectives, and competency matrix. And these aren't just theoretical templates. They're tools I've built through my own study and my own learning and my own ideas and having the actual documents. So if you found this useful, again, I appreciate all the feedback. I'm a new channel. I'm not involved in any AI governance job or cybersecurity job or legal job. I'm a teacher by trade, trying to break into AI governance somehow, some way. And I'm trying to build tools that can enable implementers, auditors, and most importantly, businesses for compliance readiness, so to speak. So thanks again for watching, guys. My name's Gavin, and this is AI Governance Engineering, and I'll see you again soon.